I invite everyone to take a look around, make eye contact with someone you haven't said Happy New Year to, and just say, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Frohes neues Jahr. Yes. Yeah. Happy New Year. Here we are. I too would like to invite everyone, welcome everyone on live stream. If you're here in the sanctuary, you're fairly new with us. I think what you're going to discover is that we are a community that connects with one another and supports one another and celebrates one another and helps each other to be all that we came here to be. I do believe that there was a time long ago where I said, I want to go play. I want to go and be incarnated with all the good that comes with it and with all the challenges sometimes. So I said yes. And each and every one of us here this morning said yes to be here, to lean in. Welcome. A couple of weeks ago, when we sat down to talk about how we are going to roll out this first quarter, I said, I want to speak on the first Sunday. Yes. Oh, Beverly is smiling because she's remembering that day. I was like, oh, yes. And the title of my talk came immediately. Until further notice, celebrate everything. Yes. I had visions of fireworks, of great fun, of celebration. And I have to be honest, this first week of this year brought me to my knees. It brought me to my knees. And what happened was that I got in contact with a very, very old belief. And the good news is, I walked it out, so everybody exhale. Karin is okay. Okay. And I want to be honest. This teaching that asked us to take a look at our own life, at realizing that whatever happens out there has something to do with what happens within me. It is not always fun and fireworks. So I chose an image for today. This, my friends, is an albatross. This oceanic bird can have a wingspan of 10 feet, which is amazing when you are up there and gliding. And it gets a little in the way when you're trying to take off, because there's a lot of wings. So if you ever find yourself wanting to have a good laugh, Google albatross funny takeoffs and landings. You'll be entertained. This was my totem pole this week. It was my totem pole. It was my anchoring into when I was sitting down trying to write this talk, and I couldn't quite lift off. I have so much to say about this teaching, how it has changed my life, how it has transformed my life. And it just wasn't coming together. And I thought back to last month. Those of you who were here, you might remember I had a dream. I was invited to speak at Mile High. I couldn't quite find the entrance, but the talk came as a download. I had a dream, and then I just shared what I dreamt, what I learned in the dream. And I was like, I'm a pretty good speaker, you know? So this time, I am waiting for the download. I have a piece of paper next to my bedside. I'm ready. Okay. And the more the week progressed and the download didn't come, that white paper was mocking me. So much so that I woke up Saturday morning at 4:44. I looked over to the clock, and I remembered something that Jeff Hargis said from this platform last week. He said that when stuff came up for him, when Reverend Penny was here, she would say, you need to go on your knees. You need to get down on your knees. And that is what came into my mind. So I did. I got up, I went into the other room, I lit a candle, and I went down on my knees. And what I discovered is that I have a very, very old belief that I am not creative. And people around me say, are you kidding me? But it matters not, and I know we all know this, it matters not what other people say about us. It matters how we feel. So I took that and I asked myself, how can I, after studying this teaching and others for 20 years, how can I have this belief that I am not creative? We are God made manifest. We are the manifestation of that created everything. It didn't just stop here. It's not everywhere, but not in me. And so I followed that breadcrumb path back to where did that belief start? If you have ever participated in one of our healing services that take place on the first Wednesday of each month, there is a process that is called from fear to faith. And that concept I took with me. Okay, where have I heard this? When did I start believing that I am not creative? And it took me all the way back to 2nd and 3rd grade. Now, I grew up in Germany, and for some reason, the teachers over there were not schooled in child psychology. Yeah, I know. I think it changed. It changed. It's been a while. I remember singing in the school choir, only to be called out by Herr Wojak, who was leading us, to ask me to just move my lips. Yeah. Right? Aw. And then there was a time in art class when I was painting, and I was told that that just wasn't right. And I know we all have had these kinds of experiences. And some of you might have said, I'm going to show him or her, right? I didn't. I took that as truth. And I put it deep within because I was ashamed. And all of that came up in this week as I was preparing for this talk. Now I ask you to take a moment and feel into, is there some belief that I feel is in me that I am so ready to lay down? Is there something that I see outpictured in my universe over and over, and I am just really done with it? Hold that close to your heart as we're going through the rest of this talk, and I promise you, you will get in contact with some tools, with some ideas, with some ways to lay it down. Are you ready to go there with me? Thank you. Yes. I love that. So I have 3 points that will help mainly me to walk us through this. But there is knowing it is not enough. Everything is created twice. And finding solid ground for takeoff. And I've already talked about this, knowing it is not enough. You know, we all have heard this. We know, if you have been in this teaching for any amount of time, we know that our thoughts create things. That whatever happens within me has something to do with what I see in the world. That is why two people can have the same experience. They can grow up in the same household with the same parents, with the same rules, and yet they interpret what they hear oh so very differently. How does that happen? It is through the thoughts that enter deep into our being. Some of them, they come. Somebody says something to us, and we're like, yeah, that's not for me, right? Yeah, that's not for me. But then other things are said about us or to us, and we go, all right, I'll take that one. I love what Ernest Holmes says. I keep doing that. I keep printing these great quotes and leave them on the printer. So funny. Let's read it together. Well, I'll read it from here. Original life is infinite. It is good. It is filled with peace. It is of the essence of purity. It is the ultimate intelligence. It is power. It is law. It is life. And it is in us. Right, in every one of us. It is in every one of us. And to the extent that we can say yes to that we really embody it, not just know about it, not just heard about it, not think that is just a pretty quote from Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, but that it is the truth. Life is in all of us. It is the energy that wants to break through in a plant that comes through concrete. In our very own DNA, there is greatness, there's creativity, there's beauty, there's goodness in each one of us. And it is a place like the New Vision Center. A place where we come, where we can work out and walk through the concrete, the challenges, that we are reminded that this power that is greater than we are is good and is in each one of us. Can we say yes to that? Yes. And the more we can say yes to that, the more we have the audacity to believe that even when our circumstances don't look that way, that is what changes our lives. That is what helps the albatross or whatever bird to lift off. Now, why is this designed this way that we have these thoughts that bring us down? That's a rhetorical question. Don't answer that. But it helps to take a look at the iceberg. I know we all have seen this, a picture of that, where what is seen of the iceberg is our conscious mind. That is where we make decisions. That is where we decide what to wear, how to balance the checkbook, what job to take, what not to take. Our conscious mind. And what is underneath the water is often what is driving that. Because I was not aware that that belief that I am not creative is still at work in me until it showed up. And it is because of this teaching that I had the awareness to follow that path and to discover, where is this coming from? So on the next slide, we see the iceberg placed in our teaching symbol. And I am so excited for all of the people that signed up for Foundations class that is starting on Tuesday. And if you haven't done that yet, yes, yeah, you want to do that. Foundations class is an amazing 11-week experience where this moves from a pretty slide into embodiment. This moves from taking a look at it to feeling it. That belief that I am not creative is what my going up to spirit and say, I am ready to write a talk. It has to go through me. And when this iceberg is in the area of the law that says, you're not creative, you have to wait for the download, then there's a white piece of paper. Yeah. And so I'm so excited for all of you who will discover in your own life, how does that look in my life? That's interesting what's happening in Karin's life, but I'm interested in my life, right? We are interested in our life. So what do we do? Awareness. Awareness, awareness, awareness. Shining light on that belief has shifted everything. Shining light on that belief and being willing to acknowledge it has allowed me to write this talk, to be here. It is places like the New Vision Center that becomes the wind underneath our wings, that lifts us up through some of the things that Reverend Leslie mentioned, through workshops, through classes, through experiences, through gatherings, and yes, there's often food. If you have been with us for a while, you know that we have a wonderful practice here. We have an annual theme. Last year's annual theme was deepening in spirit, revealing wholeness. And in May, we came to the community with a short survey, and we asked 5 questions. And one of the questions was, if New Vision Center could do one thing for you, what would it be? What would it be? What would make your life better? What would be the one thing? And we took all of those answers, and a group of 5 practitioners prayed over every answer. And out of that was born our new annual theme for 2019. Yes, yes. And it is on the next slide. Celebrating spiritual awakening. Yes. Now, what I love about this theme is that it talks about exactly what's happening. We are anchored, we are ready to take all that we have learned and to bring it forth and to let the world see our magnificence, our light, our beauty. And the way we're going to walk it out for 12 months, we will anchor into a different quality, a different portal on realizing that we are ready to be awakened, that we are here to celebrate. And we will do it together. And there are the qualities that we're going to go throughout the year. And something magnificent has happened. You know, I said everything is created twice. If you take a moment and think back 30 years ago, when a group of 12 individuals came together to vision for the new Vision Center. And here we are 30 years later, and we have touched thousands of lives. We have transformed thousands of hearts, not just from the pulpit, but from everyone who has had a different experience in their life and went out into the world. And that is the invitation for all of us. To take the time to see what is wanting to be made manifest through me as me, to dig deep, to take it in this community, in this safe space, and to bring it forth. Another great example of everything is created twice are these journals. You have probably seen some people walking around with these beautiful journals today. This was an idea to create a companion journal to help us take note. Where have I been? Where do I want to go through this year? The first batch was created and given as a thank you to all of our stewardship partners. Those individuals who said, I take a stand, I'm supporting this center financially throughout the next year. And we had a couple people who said, I want to buy some of those for my friends. So we have in the bookstore a list where you, if you were interested in having one of these journals, you can sign up there. We're going to see how many people are interested, and then we can order another batch. Or better yet, you can feel into, do I want to step into financial partnership with the new Vision Center? Reverend Leslie has agreed to have those cards out at the table, and she can tell you a lot more about that. And all of it is a reminder that what we think, we can create. So that when we take in all of it, the title, until further notice, celebrate everything, comes back to the fireworks and the excitement to walk this out together. Let us anchor it in prayer. Please join me as we take a breath, as we allow all of these words to land within us, as we hear the echo in ourselves of truth. And so I invite the practitioners of this teaching, the practitioner students, and every person who feels the call to take a stand, to just rise and stand. Feel that yes, that Celia has talked about and sang about so beautifully. Breathe in. Yes, I am ready. I am ready to recognize that there's a power for good in the universe that is greater than I am, and I am willing to bring it forth in my life. In ways that are gracious and in ways that are not so gracious. As we take a stand for the love that is always present, as we say yes to revealing that power of love in our own life, in every conversation, in every thought, in every deed. What I know without a shadow of a doubt, with every inch of my body, every fiber of my being, that life is good, life is powerful, life is in all of us, and we have our being in it. And so I say yes. I say yes to love and authenticity. I say yes to beauty and creation. I say yes to freedom, contribution, and receiving the good that is here. And with an overflowing heart and so much gratitude, I place this word into universal law. I let it go. Thank you, life, as we anchor this truth by saying, and so it is.